everyone. This is Elliott Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamline Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us yet again for another one of our comic conversations. This has been kind of a bizarre weekend and week, and a lot of the things that we talked about last week kind of came back, as far as I know, came back and bit us in the ass a bit. Because, the top 10 selling comics of 2008 pretty much disproved everything that, we were talking about. I
don't think it disproved it. I just think that now we know why. Well, go on.
Well, I guess you're right. Now we know why.
We're not wrong for railing against the price increase, but now we actually know why it's going to be here to stay.
It's going to be here. And it was funny because when I read this top 10 listing of the top selling comics of 2008, for those of you who don't know, it's all over the internet right now, but every one of these books was a $3.99 book. And the list is dominated by Secret Invasion, which it holds 8. It was an 8-issue mini. Holds 8 of the 10 spots, with one more book being X-Men number 500. The only DC book being Final Crisis number 1. So you can get into the whys and the wheres. But it made me think of that scene in Fargo. You saw Fargo, right? Remember, when William H. Macy is trying to get that, he's selling the car to that guy, and he's telling him how he's going to have to pay for the undercoat, that extra rust proofing that, cars really don't need these days. That's just like a way that the dealer kind of screws you. And the guy sits there and rails and bitches and moans how he's getting ripped off and how could he be doing this and why is he doing this, and the William H. Macy character is just sitting there just slumped over, and he knows he's doing the wrong thing, and yet what does that guy decide to do in the end? He pays the extra money for the undercoat, which even he knows he doesn't need.
Right.
This is what comic book fans are doing. Yeah. We're railing and bitching and moaning, but in the end, what do? We buy the book. So...
Well, you bought the book. you bought 9 of these top 10. Well, actually, I take that back. I bought 2. I bought X-Men number 500 because Matt Fraction and Terry Dodson did half of it.
Right.
And the Greg Land stuff was just awful.
But even X-Men 500, wasn't that like a double-sized book? It wasn't a 22-page book, was it?
No, it was a double-sized issue. You're right.
And it was it was kind of worth it for what it was. Final Crisis
was actually like 30 pages of art.
30 pages of art. So, yeah. But Secret Invasion, for every issue, was just a 22-page book. Yeah. Right? 22 pages with a cardstock cover, and that was basically it. Mm-hmm. And Marvel right now they've decided that all their top-selling books by their, the books that they know people want to buy are going to go up to $3.99. Mm-hmm. And that's just the reality of it. It's going to happen. It's like sex with Kobe Bryant. You can complain all you want, but it's going to happen. So, that's just the sad reality of it. Guys... I've come to realize we're the minority opinion. We can rail and shake our fists at the stars and decry the injustice of it all. And maybe that's a little overstating it. There are some financial realities to publishing these days, and magazines and newspapers are struggling, and some of them, for all I know, Marvel has to do that. Their bottom line needs you to do that. Although I guess the only issue I take is they've never come out and explained why. They never come out and explained why they're raising prices on the books that they know people want. Mm-hmm. You're going to get your X-Men books, you're going to buy your Avengers books, you're going to buy those things. So they're raising the prices on that because they know those are the books that people want. Has DC announced a price increase in their books?
No? Not yet. But let's just hope that, I think that's the best thing that DC can do. DC's doing a lot of bad shit right now, comic-wise and content-wise, but I think they can actually do something good by keeping their prices down.
Right.
And keeping comics at $2.99.
Well, they're also part of a great big media conglomerate, so it's not like they need the comics to do well to support their bottom line, whereas Marvel does. You know, Marvel doesn't have. I mean, yeah, now they have Marvel Entertainment, but that's a company that's just basically running from project to project. You know, so maybe that's a difference there. I don't know.
But I think at the end of the day, I mean, DC might be owned by Warner Brothers and
Time Warner,
Time
all
Warner.
those
I mean, all
companies.
those. But I mean, if it doesn't make money,
Right.
they're just they would cut it. I mean, they still have to turn a profit and they still have to do something. So
Right.
But I just think that being owned by a parent company kind of helps a little bit more. But I hope they can keep the prices down because of that.
Well, I don't know. This is the reality. The reality is that we're looking at higher prices in comics now. Recession or whatever aside, that's what it is. And the market has spoken. People will buy $3.99 books. They'll buy them in droves. In fact, they'll buy them to the point where they'll make them the top-selling books of the year.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that, I mean, content-wise, it wasn't worth $3.99. If anything, Secret Invasion, though we've reviewed it, and I hated it, something awful. It's not even worth $3.99 an issue to me.
Yeah.
And to have that, obviously people liked it, and I mean, we always talk about this. It's just that, you know what? Mediocrity reigns supreme in this fucking country, and when you got something as really is the king of mediocrity, Brian Michael Bendis, and the most mediocre miniseries since Civil War, yeah, of course it's going to sell gangbusters. But all of our viewers actually know better, and they probably didn't buy all of them because they were $3.99, and plus it was an awful story. But you can thank all your friends for
Sure.
buying it and making it making Secret Invasion the top 8 out of the 10 books this year.
We're the minority, guys. That's the unfortunate reality. And we'll talk about the top-selling graphic novels, which is actually paints a decidedly different picture than the top-selling comics. We'll talk about that in the next segment.